the morning that changed everything. Marcus Chen stood in his supervisor's office, his termination letter still warm from the printer. 20 minutes late. That's all it took to unravel 3 years of perfect attendance, shattered by a single act of humanity on a rainy Tuesday morning. "I'm sorry, Marcus," his supervisor had said, not meeting his eyes. "Corporate policy is clear. 3 tardies in 90 days means automatic termination. I fought for you, but my hands are tied." Marcus had wanted to explain again about the woman, about the emergency, but he could see it wouldn't matter. Rules were rules. He thought about his daughter, 7-year-old Sophie, waiting for him at her after-school program. How was he going to tell her that Daddy lost his job? As he cleared out his desk at Harrison Medical Supply, his co-workers offered sympathetic looks but kept their distance. Nobody wanted to be associated with the guy who got fired. Marcus understood. They all had families to feed, bills to pay. The irony wasn't lost on him. He'd been late helping someone outside a medical building, and now he was jobless from a medical supply company. 6 hours earlier. The morning had started like any other. Marcus had dropped Sophie at school, her backpack nearly as big as she was, her gap-toothed smile making his heart ache with love. Being a single dad wasn't easy, especially since Sophie's mom had walked out when she was 2. But that little girl was his entire world. "Love you, Daddy," she'd called, waving as she ran toward her classroom. "Love you more, Princess." He'd driven toward work, mentally reviewing his day. Inventory check at 9, shipment verification at 11, lunch with the guys at noon. Simple, predictable, safe. Then he saw her. A young woman, heavily pregnant, struggling to get out of her car in the parking lot of the medical plaza adjacent to his building. She was leaning against the vehicle, one hand on her back, her face twisted in pain. As Marcus slowed down, he saw her legs buckle. He didn't think. He just acted. Marcus pulled over, hazard lights flashing, and ran to her side. She was barely conscious, her breathing shallow and rapid. Ma'am, can you hear me?" He supported her weight as she slumped against him. "I'm calling 911. No ambulance," she gasped. "Can't afford." "Doctor's office. 2nd floor." Marcus looked up at the medical building, then at his watch. 8:47 a.m. He had 13 minutes to clock in at work. A 5-minute drive away. The woman groaned and the decision made itself. "Okay, I've got you. Let's get you inside." He half carried her through the lobby into the elevator, ignoring the stairs. She was small, but the weight of her pregnancy made each step a challenge. In the elevator, she gripped his arm with surprising strength. "Thank you," she whispered. "I'm Sarah Harrison." "Marcus, just hang on, Sarah, almost there." The OB/GYN office erupted in controlled chaos when they arrived. Nurses rushed forward with a wheelchair, and a doctor appeared immediately. Sarah was whisked away, but not before she caught Marcus's hand. "You saved us," she said, tears in her eyes. "Both of us." "What's your name again?" "Marcus Chen, but really anyone would have—" "No," she interrupted firmly. "Not everyone." "Thank you, Marcus Chen." Then she was gone, and Marcus was running back to his car. 8:58 a.m. He drove like a man possessed, but traffic lights and a delivery truck blocking an intersection meant he didn't clock in until 9:17. His supervisor, Dan Peterson, had been waiting. "Marcus, that's your 3rd tardy." "I know, Dan, I'm sorry." "There was a pregnant woman." "I don't want to hear excuses. You know the policy." Marcus had tried twice more to explain throughout the day, but corporate policy was corporate policy. By 3 p.m. he was unemployed. 3 days later, Sophie sat at their kitchen table. Her homework spread before her, but her eyes kept drifting to Marcus. He'd told her about the job loss in the simplest terms. Daddy helped someone who needed it, and the rules said he couldn't be late. So now Daddy needs to find a new job. "But you did the right thing," Sophie had said with the absolute certainty only a 7-year-old possesses. "Yes, Princess, I did." "Then the right thing will happen for us too." He wished he had her faith. His laptop was open to job listings, but in a small city like theirs, medical supply jobs didn't grow on trees. He had enough savings for maybe 2 months of rent and expenses. After that, the knock on the door interrupted his spiraling thoughts. A woman in an expensive suit stood in the hallway, looking slightly out of place in their modest apartment building. Behind her stood Sarah, the pregnant woman from the parking lot, no longer pregnant. She was radiant, healthy, and smiling. "Mr. Chen?" "Marcus Chen," the suited woman asked. "That's me. Can I help you?" Sarah stepped forward. "I've been trying to find you for 3 days." The hospital wouldn't give me your information, privacy laws and all. I finally called every Chen in the phone book until I found your neighbor, who confirmed you lived here. Marcus blinked. Is everything okay? Your baby? Perfect. A healthy baby girl, thanks to you. Sarah's eyes grew misty. The doctor said I was having a placental abruption. If I'd tried to drive myself or waited any longer, we might not have made it. You saved our lives, Marcus. I'm glad you're both okay, but really anyone would have. Stop saying that, Sarah said gently. Because it's not true. Do you know how many cars passed me before you stopped? 17. I counted. You were the only one who helped. The woman in the suit cleared her throat. Mr. Chen, my name is Patricia Moore. I'm the chief legal officer for Harrison Industries. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Harrison Industries, the parent company of Harrison Medical Supply, where he'd just been fired. If this is about my termination, he started. I'm not going to cause trouble. I understand the policy. Let me finish, Patricia said, but she was smiling. I'm here because Ms. Harrison. Wait, Marcus looked at Sarah. Harrison? Sarah extended her hand properly for the first time. Sarah Harrison. My grandfather founded Harrison Industries 60 years ago. My father expanded it into 12 companies. And as of last year, when he retired due to health issues, I became CEO of the entire organization. Marcus felt the floor tilt slightly. He'd helped the CEO. He'd been fired for helping the CEO. Oh my God, he whispered. When I got home from the hospital, Sarah continued, I told my husband about the angel who saved us. I wanted to thank you properly. So I asked Patricia to track you down through building security footage. Imagine my surprise when she reported that Marcus Chen had been terminated from Harrison Medical Supply that very same day. Her voice hardened. For being late, because he was helping me. Patricia opened her briefcase. We've conducted a thorough review of the circumstances and the company's attendance policies. While we understand the need for consistent policies, we also recognize that rigidity without room for human judgment creates injustice. Mr. Peterson should have escalated the situation, Sarah added. Any supervisor worth their position would have investigated why a model employee with 3 years of perfect attendance suddenly had 3 tardies. Do you want to know what I found when I looked into your record? Marcus shook his head, overwhelmed. Your first tardy was 6 weeks ago. Your car broke down and you took the bus, but it ran late. Your second was 3 weeks ago when your daughter's school called. She was sick, and you picked her up before coming to work. And the third was saving my life. Sarah's voice cracked. You're a good man, Marcus Chen, a great father, and you deserved better. Dan Peterson has been reassigned to a position with no supervisory duties, Patricia said. We've also revised our attendance policy across all Harrison companies to include a mandatory review process for terminations, especially for employees with exemplary records. No more automatic firings without executive approval. Marcus tried to process it all. I don't understand. Why are you here? Sarah smiled. To offer you a job. Several, actually. Patricia pulled out folders. Option 1. Return to your position at Harrison Medical Supply with full back pay, a formal apology, and a promotion to shift supervisor. Option 2. A position in our corporate headquarters in HR, helping us redesign our employee policies to be more humane and fair. Your starting salary would be $45,000, $20,000 more than you were making. Marcus stared. 20,000 more. That would mean a better apartment, a college fund for Sophie, maybe even a vacation. Option 3, Sarah said softly, is the one I'm personally hoping you'll consider. I need someone to lead our new community engagement division. It would mean traveling to our various companies, identifying policies and practices that need reform, and being the voice for workers who don't have one. It's a senior director position. $75,000, full benefits, company car, and the budget to make real change. The numbers stopped making sense. $75,000. Marcus had never imagined earning that much. I don't have the qualifications, he whispered. I barely finished community college. You have exactly the qualifications that matter, Sarah interrupted. Character, compassion, the courage to do the right thing even when it costs you. That's what I need. That's what every company needs, but so few have. I want to build a corporation that values people like you, and I need someone like you to help me do it. Sophie appeared in the doorway, her curiosity overcoming her usual shyness. Daddy? Marcus pulled her close. Princess, these ladies are here about a job for Daddy. Sarah crouched down, careful of her post-surgery body. You must be Sophie. Your daddy is a hero. Did you know that? Sophie nodded seriously. He's always been my hero. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Mine too. Because of him, my daughter gets to meet me. She gets to know her mother. She stood wiping her eyes. I'm sorry. Hormones are still everywhere. But Marcus, I mean this. You gave me my future. Let me help you build yours. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the conference room at Harrison Industries headquarters, looking out over the city. His city, where he'd lived his whole life, but which looked different from the 15th floor. Sophie's drawing was pinned to the bulletin board. Behind him, a stick figure with my daddy, the hero, written in crayon. He'd taken the third option. The community engagement division had started with just him, but now included a team of 6. They'd reformed attendance policies across all 12 Harrison companies, implemented family emergency leave, and created a whistleblower program for employees to report unfair treatment. 3 supervisors had been fired for abusive practices that had gone unchecked for years. 24 workers had been promoted after being overlooked due to bias or favoritism. It wasn't perfect. Corporate culture changed slowly, but it was changing. Sarah knocked on his open door, her daughter sleeping in a carrier against her chest. Got a minute? For my boss, always. I prefer to think of us as partners, she said, settling into a chair. I wanted you to know that the board approved your proposal. Every Harrison company will now have a community engagement representative by year's end. You're going to need to hire and train them. Marcus felt a surge of pride. I have some people in mind. Good workers who got lost in the system. I trust your judgment. You haven't steered me wrong yet. Sarah smiled at her sleeping daughter. I'm naming her Grace, by the way. Grace Marceline Harrison. Marceline after my grandmother, but also, it sounds a bit like Marcus, doesn't it? His throat tightened. Sarah, you don't have to. I want to. Every time I say her name, I'll remember that Grace. The kind of grace you showed me is what saved her life. And hopefully, the grace we're building into this company will save a lot of other lives too. Different kinds of saving maybe, but still important. After she left, Marcus sat in silence for a moment. He thought about that Tuesday morning, about the choice that hadn't felt like a choice at all. He thought about how close he'd come to losing everything, and how that same moment had given him more than he'd ever dreamed of. His phone buzzed. A text from Sophie. Pizza for dinner? With extra cheese? Please, please, please. He smiled and typed back. Anything for my princess. As he gathered his things to leave, on time, always on time these days, but knowing that if he ever had a good reason to be late, it would be understood. Marcus realized that the best part wasn't the salary or the title, or the corner office he'd been offered but declined. It was knowing that kindness, real simple human kindness, still mattered in the world. That doing the right thing might cost you in the moment, but it could never truly make you lose. And it was knowing that somewhere in this city, a little girl named Grace would grow up in a world that was just slightly better, slightly kinder, because one person stopped when others drove past. That was worth more than any paycheck could ever be. But the paycheck, Marcus thought as he headed to pick up Sophie, definitely didn't hurt.